and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me.
Stop self-diagnosing.
Hello there, I'm Nerf, or Nerfy if you know me, and welcome back to Ambie's Mini Ailments, AMA for short. Now, before we begin, I want to state that I'm going to do my very best to keep my personal opinion about if she has something or not out of the following videos, other than poking fun, of course. If you haven't been here before, this is how it works. I'm going to break down what these medical issues are, and then what she says she experiences. You know, a fun and easy way for us to see if she's full of it or not. Please keep in mind that this woman knows better than not just us, but the doctors and nurses that have worked on her. I will have all of my sources in the description down below, because unlike our girl, honesty and transparency is always important. We are going to go through these medical issues 3 at a time in each video, 2 big ones that she says frequently, and then a quirk or a little one that's either mentioned once or backpedaled on hard or she's contradicted herself. So I invite you to grab some tea in your snowflake mug, grab your Karina Kermit, and put on your Omegon shirt, and prepare yourself for whatever the opposite of a treat is. Crap bag. Yeah, I'm calling it a crap bag. This is Ambie's Mini Ailments, Part 2.
I know it's because my stomach is really big and I also have a really big butt. So there is a divot like near my bulged / slip disc. So when I am standing, even for just like 2 minutes, I am in excruciating pain, like just horrid pain. Sometimes I can't even take a full breath. And I know it's because of my weight, because it's gotten worse as I've gained weight.
I have honestly lost track of how many times over the years that Ambie has complained about her joints.
Already my feet hurt all the time, my heel hurts all the time, my ankle, my back, like my back has been hurting so bad lately. I think I have a slip disc again. This happens quite frequently.
Bones.
Broke a bone.
And all around her body simply rebelling against her lifestyle. So let's kick things off by talking about obesity.
I couldn't help but almost like judge this morbidly obese girl.
One of Ambie's favorite subjects, because she simply loves to let us know that this does not affect her life. Now, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with our bones? Well, it turns out quite a bit. Our skeletal system is like the architectural framework of our body. It's designed to support and distribute weight we carry. When we talk about obesity, we are talking about an increase of overall body weight, and our bones bear the brunt of that load. No matter how little or how much extra weight we have, our bones will bear it. And not only that, but our bones will never grow or shrink to adapt. Yes, I'm sorry, big boned is a myth. I'm hurt as well. There have been studies that talk about our bone density sometimes adjusting, but that is not the good thing you might think it is. Bone density is based on the vitamin and minerals that we take in, and guess what? Horrible diet can affect that.
Smells interesting. Wow, I have something in my eye. Hold on. This is good. It said that it was going to be spicy. There's a hint of spice, but it's not spicy. That's really good. Now what I'm nervous for, I'm just gonna go for it and try a mushroom and call it a day.
But bone density does not reflect bone quality, and it can cause some rather pesky issues. So think of it like this. Every step you take,
aspirations, I got to do the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good.
I would like to thank Snowflake and Jimmy Bunker for giving me permission to use the Shaped by the Algorithm music to put over that little clip. What? I had to put something over it. I wasn't going to use my music. Thanks, guys. Every move you make. Your bones are working to support you. Now, add some extra weight into the mix.
514.8.
And it's like asking your bones to carry a heavier backpack every day. Over time, this additional stress can impact the structure and function of our skeletal system.
No, it has nothing to do with my weight. People fall. Skinny people fall. It is what it is.
Well, they can, Ambie. However, in a 2012 study, it was found that the obese were 31% more likely to suffer a fall than their counterparts that were in the same age bracket. Not only that, but in a 2016 study, it is shown that while the obese were less likely to suffer from an injury,
Anywhere else hurt besides your ankle, and now your leg is hurting. My toes hurt, obviously. It is the right ankle, but I landed on my left leg, like my shin area. There's a huge bruise.
yes, yes, like that. They are more likely in for a longer hospital stay. Carrying extra weight stresses our muscles and bones, messing with our balance and coordination.
Just a quick update while I'm alone because I feel way too shy to be vlogging in front of other people. Destiny is currently in the shower and things are so amazing. I can't even put it into words how perfect this is. Like, she makes me so freaking happy. Something funny happened. My first impression of meeting a few of her family members, I completely fell in the mud. My finger went into dog poop and it was just this whole embarrassing thing. Like,
The increased load on our joints, particularly in the lower body, can make movement less stable and increase the risk for slips and falls. Now, let's talk about bone density.
and so I thought it would be funny. I don't know. And then when I started shaking my dog, he was standing there and he like shook his whole body and his little his little collar started shaking. So when you watch it back, it literally sounds like something on my body is making that noise. Like my bones are brittle or something. Oh, I don't even know.
Well, Ambie, they likely are. Bones thrive on a healthy balance of stress and support. However, excessive body weight can sometimes lead to a reduction in bone density. It's like our bones are caught in a tug of war, trying to adapt to the extra load, but facing challenges maintaining an optimal density. It is essential to consider the impact of obesity on children as well. Childhood is a critical period for bone development. Excessive weight during this time can influence bone density and structure, setting the stage for potential skeletal issues later in life. Her childhood broken ankle stories will get their own little video, because I have questions.
Admit to some things that I have lied about. This is really hard. I'm not a liar.
No, of course you aren't. Anyway, lifestyle factors play a crucial role. A balanced diet.
I feel like they're changing a lot of fast food meats. Oh, This would be great for a family. Two of us. We're a family.
Yeah, this would have been something that Mom would have loved back in the day.
Maybe she still would. Oh. I'm tempted. What? You guys should see Becky's face.
Regular physical activity.
There we go. Oh my gosh, she moves fast. Okay, there we go.
And maintaining a healthy weight.
I just want to show, for me to like hold on to something, I have to like reach over a lot like this. So I won't be like, I know there's rumors of me holding on to things and whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna turn on the scale. You just kind of tap it like so. I'm gonna try not to show my feet because I don't like it. Ready. I'm gonna step on.
$564.2 pounds.
I'm gonna step off.
Contribute to not only overall well-being, but also to the health of our skeletal system. It's about finding a sweet spot for our bones to thrive. One area that feels the effects quite intensely is our joints. The knees, hips, spine, and ankles in particular bear the weight of the body. In cases of obesity, the added pressure on these joints can contribute to conditions like osteoarthritis, where the protective cartilage breaks down over time. See, how this happens is,
this word is hard for me to pronounce, but I also experience hip bursitis. I am bad at pronouncing that word.
I had this whole thing planned and I was gonna...
I'm tired and I'm annoyed.
But we can talk about what you want to, Ambie. Carrying some extra weight can really take a toll on your hips. So Ambie might finally be right about something. Hold your applause. One way it shows up is in something called hip bursitis. That's when those little sacs around your hips get all inflamed. See, the extra pounds we carry can put a load on our hips, wearing down those sacs, meaning it's not just something our precious Ambie experiences, but many morbidly obese people do. Plus, if you've got some extra padding, it can stir up inflammation throughout your body, making things even more uncomfortable. This can also affect your gait, or the way you walk, in other words. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. There are many other joints.
Sometimes my spine can get swollen.
Will you stop interrupting me? God, can't you see I'm trying to do something? Not everything is about you, and you can't just...
This is just me being vulnerable.
Fine. Okay.
I'm tired and I'm annoyed.
Like a toddler, I swear to... Your swollen spine. Obesity's lesser known connection is its potential link to a swollen spine. Excessive body weight places added stress on the spine, leading to wear and tear to the discs and joints. This increased mechanical load can contribute to inflammation of the spine, potentially causing it to swell. The excess fat tissue in the body also releases inflammatory substances, further contributing to the systematic inflammation that can affect the spine. As the spine swells, individuals may experience discomfort, stiffness, and reduced mobility. There, can you stop interrupting me?
I want to apologize to who thought I was being rude and smug.
Thank you. Gods have to control everything. This leads us to the most recent ankle incident. Now, she has shown the pictures of what happened and where it happened.
I went for a walk. I don't know, my headspace is just not the greatest lately. And it's like I'm so confused. I was loving vlogging, but now I'm in a low. So it's like vlogging just, I don't know, I just feel so disconnected.
Frankly, I'm shocked. Plain shocked that, she survived. Now, a rolled ankle hurts, and I understand that, but milking it the way she did was ridiculous. She could have done this for many reasons.
You seem like you're milking it.
But you were milking it, Ambie. Now, the ankle joint is a hinged synovial joint that is formed by the articulation of the talus, tibia, and fibula bone. Pain in the ligaments surrounding this can be caused by a rolled ankle, and a level 1 or 2 can heal on its own. But you did not say you rolled or sprained these. You said you tore these, right?
So annoying to me.
Okay, well, a fully torn ligament or grade 3 tear can cause chronic pain and joint instability. Complete tears rarely heal naturally, since there's a disconnect between the tissue and any chance of blood supply. Surgery is needed. Surgery also helps the joint heal correctly and reduces the chances of re-injury. You never got surgery, so you were 100% milking a rolled ankle.
Pounds breaking their ligaments. Just imagine walking, I don't know why I said breaking my ligaments, I'm sorry, tearing my ligaments. Just imagine walking as a skinny person on torn ligaments. That shit hurts. Now imagine adding a 500-pound brick on top of that. It is a whole other level of pain.
The 500-pound brick is, as I've heard repeatedly stated, a false equivalence and meant to keep people off your back because you cannot carry any more weight. Thus, you were trying to use catastrophic language to get attention. We will be covering that in the next segment. Don't you worry. Then, about a year later, there is the mile walk. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. This doesn't belong here. But it does. Because the effect that this could have on her joints if she actually did this walk, which, I'm sorry, I am sure she 100% did not do. A walk like this would affect her joints and bones to a point of crippling pain, but she barely broke a sweat. Her bones, and most importantly, her joints, are fighting for their lives at this point in the hopes that she'll get her act together. So any exercise she does should be low impact to ensure we don't have any more... well, hilarious stumbles resulting in her crying for months for attention.
I don't think I cry for attention. Nope, not me. We talked a lot about trauma. Today was a lot about trauma and PTSD and some of the things I went through. And I purposely wear waterproof mascara for a reason. I cry so much in therapy. Like, I was in a really good mood. I mean, I still am. You know what? I still am. Like, I feel so hopeful.
Before we jump into PTSD, we're going to talk about exaggeration or catastrophic language.
Like, I literally knew I had uterine cancer before I was diagnosed.
No. You are not going to interrupt me this time, Ambie. Go on. Sit over there. Okay. Now, I can assure you I want to talk about these things for a reason. Now, exaggeration is the representation of something as more extreme or dramatic than it is, intentionally or unintentionally. Some people use it in storytelling to help bring their story some extra deliverance.
Day one of actually taking my mood stabilizer. I am kind of nervous because the girl said that this could cause a very bad rash that could be deathly. And I'm just like, what? Excuse me?
While others use it to make their situation seem worse or better than it is.
I look at certain aspects of my life and I'm just like, that is why I react the way I do, why I go several days without leaving my room.
This can also be a form of gaslighting because it falls under one of the definitions, manipulating reality. The reason I threw this in before my segment on Amber and her PTSD is because Amber loves to use it, but with no idea on the impact that it has on her viewers. To her, it seems like a filler. It is an exaggeration. It is a catastrophic language. It is gaslighting.
Ever since I was diagnosed with PTSD,
full disclosure on this, I have held back a lot on many of the other things I have covered. And I know, I've only done one other video, but I doubt I'm going to be so calm on this one. I live with and manage PTSD. This segment will be long. So, fair warning. By the way, June is PTSD Awareness Month. If you didn't know, now you do.
I think this pet peeve might be a bit of a PTSD symptom due to my past.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is commonly associated with military experiences, but it can stem from a variety of traumatic events unrelated to war.
And they're going to get more into like my trauma and PTSD in the future. But
it might be a car accident, a natural disaster, an assault, or any life-altering event that leaves a long-lasting impact on an individual's mental well-being. The struggle is internal, silent, and pervasive. Figuring out if someone has PTSD is a very serious business and usually involves talking to mental health professionals like psychiatrists or psychologists.
That I talked to my psychologist about, and she says I show signs of PTSD.
They start by talking about your past, what you've been through, and how you're feeling. There's this guidebook they use. It's called the DSM-5 with a checklist for PTSD. It's like, did you go through something really tough? Do you have memories that bug you? They're looking at how it affects your mood and if you're always on edge. Sometimes they throw in some surveys or questions to get a full picture. The important thing here is to take the time and understand your unique experiences and the tough times that have hit your mental well-being.
He wanted me to fill out this like thing, and I had no idea what it was, and he wasn't telling me what it was.
Okay. Now, what she is talking about is a PCL test. It comes in different forms. It can be a PCLM, which is military, a PCLC, which is civilian, or a PCLS, which is specific. All of these are self-reporting tests, and all of them fall under the PCL5. Basically, someone sits down and is given a situation and then asked to give a level of comfort. So just like this. In the past month, how much were you bothered by repeated, disturbing, or unwanted memories of the stressful experience? Under that would be a scale with 0 being none at all and 4 being frequently for you to select. Now, Ambie also says here that the therapist did not let her know what this was for. Now, this can be done in very rare cases, according to what I've read. However, the majority of the time, because of the nature of the test, the recipient does need to know what this is for. You see where that exaggerated language can work against Ambie here? Now, this is given to people to measure change. However, the clinically administered CAPS-5 is given by a clinician to determine PTSD. It is an interview process that could take up to 45 minutes to an hour.
For the lack of a better term, PTSD, whenever I would look down at the tennis shoes. So I got rid of them and got a new pair. I don't know what it was. I kept blaming the shoes for my fall. It was a mixture of a bunch of things, but I got these.
A PTSD moment? You meant an anxiety moment when you did not remember where to put your feet when you were walking and fell, likely causing an indent. And now you have anxiety from the fall, or you just wanted new shoes.
I think I'm like going through like a PTSD moment because every time I try to fall asleep, I'm like jerked awake.
When you get those hypnic jerks, your heart races and you start breathing faster, maybe break a sweat, and sometimes feel this weird sensation like shocked or falling into the void. You know, Ambie, like when you stop breathing, likely caused by sleep apnea.
Yeah, that is sleep apnea. Like, she was just out in front with it, and she's like, it is.
This alone is not a symptom of PTSD. It can be a symptom of the sleep apnea that we heard about a couple of times and then never again, or anxiety, which is something that we heard from her a few times as well. Living with PTSD means navigating triggers that can be as diverse as the event that caused the trauma. It might be a sound, a smell, a specific situation that transports someone back to the moment of distress.
Trigger warning, panic attack symptoms.
The complexity of triggers adds an additional layer of challenge for those grappling with the aftermath of trauma. For instance, there are some people that cannot smell the scent of whiskey or a certain brand of cologne because of their PTSD. It sends them back into a trauma response.
I think I'm like going through like a PTSD moment.
I'm not one to shame someone's mental illnesses, but girl, please, you're scarfing down pizza and talking about a PTSD moment. Get a fucking grip. Okay. Calm. So, you might be wondering, how is PTSD treated? Well, there are quite a few options out there.
Have you found a new therapist? I actually have not. So
one approach is cognitive therapy. It's a type of talk therapy that helps you recognize those tricky thinking patterns keeping you stuck, like negative thoughts about yourself or the fear of the traumatic event happening again. For PTSD, cognitive therapy often teams up with exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is a behavioral approach that helps you face situations and memories head on, the ones that might be downright terrifying. It's like stepping into the lion's den, but in a safe way, so you can learn how to cope effectively. Some even use virtual reality programs to revisit the scenes of trauma. There's also eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, or EMDR for short. It's a bit like exposure therapy, but with the added twist of guided eye movement. Picture it as a way to help your brain process those tough memories and change how you react to them. And yes, there are medications in the mix. Some prefer the therapies over medications.
I just want to get this out in the open. This is not one of the things that I do, but there are medications out there. I am very anti-medication. That's just how I've always been.
SSRIs like Zoloft and Paxil are FDA approved for PTSD treatment. They can tackle symptoms of depression, anxiety, and even help with sleep problems and concentration. Now, if anxiety is the main player, there are anti-anxiety medications, but they are generally used in short durations due to the potential of abuse. And then there's prazosin, which in some studies suggest might help with nightmares and PTSD. And it is a big but. A recent study showed no clear benefit. Still, it's one of those things that you want to chat with your doctor about, considering your unique situation. After all, finding the right path is a journey. It's not a sprint.
And my scores have already lowered. So therapy works, children.
But if you're Ambie and you don't do any of those things regularly, the symptoms of PTSD never really go away. Dr. Sanjay Gupta told CNN. Here's why. There is a profound psychological and physiological reaction to something traumatic. That traumatic event can't be completely undone, though it can be diminished in the mind. Now, I have been in pretty intense therapy with meds for going on about 9 years for my PTSD, because that is what you do when you no longer wish to live with it anymore. You managed to lower your score in a matter of a year. Truly, there are people out there that wish and pray that they can be like you. You got over it.
This is just me being vulnerable.
So there's this study from 2017 that dove into how people bounce back from PTSD after going through different kinds of tough experiences. Now, what the researchers discovered is that around half of those folks dealing with PTSD managed to recover it within 2 years. But here's the kicker. Roughly a quarter of them struggled and did not fully recover even after a whole decade. It's a bit of tug of war between healing and lingering challenges. Now, let's talk about the types of trauma in this study because they play a big role. Traumas like purposefully hurting someone or witnessing truly awful things seem to recover.
First thing is I have really bad memory loss from traumatic events that happened in my childhood.
A lot slower. On the brighter side, accidents causing serious harm or situations like man-made disasters were linked to higher chances of bouncing back. It's like the nature of the trauma has its own say in how the recovery journey is going to unfold. Here's a bit of a curveball. Having a history of anxiety disorders.
Because I suffer, I get it. It sucks so bad. More than probably anything, it's the worst feeling in the world to have anxiety.
Including PTSD.
Oh my god, like why are you making fun of people with anxiety? I have panic disorder.
And social phobia.
I have really bad social anxiety. Like it's getting worse. I'm very much an introvert, I feel like.
Seem to make it trickier to recover from PTSD. Bit unexpected. Moving on. So, this study shows us a few factors. I swear I am not just trying to bore you. 1. If you are being honest, then you are in the 27th percentile of recovery by recovering as fast as you did. 2, when anxiety disorder is present or other PTSD, then it is harder to recover from. But somehow You expect us to believe that you went through therapy and your scores went down weekly? It feels like your PTSD vanished as quickly as your struggles with binge eating disorder did. Video incoming. Maybe because you wanted to escape the heavy stigma tied to PTSD. And let's be honest, it exists. Some folks wrongly think that it makes somebody dangerous or that it's all in our heads. Or maybe you aim to be this inspiring figure, but let's face it, you are not.
Can I just get over it? Can I just move on from my trauma? Because that is what so many of you tell me. Just move on. And he said it's not possible. You can't just move on, especially when you have possible PTSD, because last week it was just something that he was assuming. And now he's like, yeah, you definitely have it. So it's not something I can just, put on a new dress and say, oh, I'm over it. Like it's not like that. I wish it was, because I wouldn't be this size. I wouldn't have the issues that I have. The only way you can make progress is finding the right therapist, who I'm very lucky is a psychologist, truly knows what they're talking about, and they have the answers and they know exactly what I need to do, but they can't fix me. They're only there to be my guide. And I need to.
Or perhaps you no longer needed the excuse. It seems like you picked up and dropped the whole PTSD thing when it suited you, swiftly dealing with it in therapy while the rest of us are navigating it for a lifetime. Now, I'm not here to confirm or deny that Ambie had PTSD. That's not the point of these videos. What bugs me is how it looks like you treated it more as a passing trend or an easy excuse, which, if true, paints a pretty grim picture of your diminishing character. It makes you an even worse person than I thought you were. And I'll be honest, at this point, that is hard.
A red apple. I can't do that. Or if I'm like, okay, everyone close your eyes and think of an alligator on a log. Like, I can't envision that. Like, I just have black in my brain. And I also, or my mind, I also don't have words. And I know a lot of people do, and I'm just like, what? It's like when I think, I know that I'm thinking, but there is no like voice in there. And the people who have a voice and like who gets to see images, like that must be so fucking awesome, because I'm living dark up here. I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. I just know that I'm thinking.
On to a lighter note, aphantasia or mind blindness. Thank you to the subscriber who suggested this one. A term coined in 2015 describes a cognitive phenomenon where an individual cannot voluntarily generate mental images that only affects about 2 to 3% of the population. Just imagine closing your eyes and trying to visualize a serene beach or a vivid sunset. For those with aphantasia, this mental imagery is not there or only is a blur. It's not a lack of imagination, rather it's an absence or significant reduction in the ability to see images in the mind's eye. This unique aspect of perception exists on a spectrum. Some individuals may have no mental imagery whatsoever, while others might experience it to a limited degree. It's not just limited visually. It can extend to other senses like smell, taste, or touch. Understanding aphantasia challenges our assumptions about the universality of the mental experience. So let's dig into what causes aphantasia. Experts are still scratching their heads a bit, trying to figure out what causes congenital aphantasia and acquired aphantasia. First off, congenital aphantasia, it's like looking for clues in the dark because, truth be told, experts aren't entirely sure why it happens. There are some ideas floating around, but most of it is just a genetic deal. Or it could be a touch of neurodiversity. Conditions like autism spectrum disorder play in the same sandbox. And surprise folks, aphantasia often share some traits with people with autism. But the research is still out on that. Now, let's switch gears to acquired aphantasia. Some cases have a clearer storyline, like brain injuries. Aphantasia might begin to happen after a head bump, a stroke, or if you have an unexpected turn into non-medical drug use. It can even buddy up with mental illnesses, like mood disorders or depersonalization or derationalization disorders. People with this kind of aphantasia still have mental imagery, but it's like their brain has a mind of its own. It's doing its own thing without permission. Why and how aphantasia decides to pull a stunt with mental health conditions is still unknown. So, what is it like to have aphantasia? Imagine thinking about a loved one's face. For most, a mental image accompanies this thought, a visual snapshot in the mind. Now, for someone with aphantasia, that mental image might be missing. Instead, thoughts and memories are often conceptualized in an abstract or verbal form. It's like navigating through the world with a different lens, where the visual aspect is replaced with other cognitive processes. This can also extend to other areas in someone with aphantasia's life, like dreaming.
I had the weirdest dream in the world. Like, I just can't quite...
People that are mind blind report that they very rarely dream, and when they do, it is usually in text. And as of a study in 2020, there is not a single record of anyone with aphantasia lucid dreaming.
Ugh. Do you lucid dream? I actually have lucid dreamed before quite a few times in my lifetime. I can't force myself to do it, but when I do it, girl, I have the time of my life. I honestly love doing it.
Want to know what else they don't enjoy? Reading.
Books is good for the brain.
Everyone just stop with me and think about what reading is for a moment. It is looking at ink on a dead tree and hallucinating. It is an amazing thing and more fun than I can describe, and I feel for those who don't enjoy it. However,
Of just different books by Casey Watson about little children going into foster care, and I'm really intrigued with books like that because I was in foster care from the ages to 8 to 18, and I don't know, I just really love stories about foster care and what happens in foster care and why certain kids go into foster care. To me, it's intriguing and it's fun and it's entertaining to read.
Ambie should not be enjoying this according to studies and articles done. Sources down below. But for this interest, let's say the Orion. Most people with aphantasia do not enjoy reading, and those that do dislike fiction because they do not have the ability to hallucinate what is being written on the page. In fact, most people with aphantasia actively need to teach themselves to read fiction in a special kind of way to absorb and enjoy the story before them. I am sorry, but does this seem like our...
I have tons of books on my bookshelf that I'm kind of don't really care if I read them or not. Those 3 books, I'm super excited to read.
For individuals with aphantasia, the absence of visual mental imagery may influence the way memories are stored and recalled. In contrast to those who can mentally picture past events, individuals with aphantasia often rely on other cognitive processes, such as verbal or conceptual memory.
First thing is I have really bad memory loss from traumatic events that happened in my childhood.
I put that there for transparency because there are moments where she says she has a bad memory, but it is usually when she's lying. This unique approach to memory can result in different internal representations of past experiences, potentially influencing the emotional and sensory aspects associated with memory recall.
Younger than me, that's my little brother, and he was probably 4 and I'm 5'6". And I was chunky then, okay? And he's the skinny little blonde-headed cutie, and I'm this chunky big sister. And I would tell him, if you push me in the wagon, I'll push you next. And so he'd always pull me in the wagon, and I would never do it for him. And it was, I want to say a year later, we found out that he had a hernia, and he had to get it removed.
The absence of visual imagery challenged traditional notions of how memories are formed, highlighting the diverse ways in which individuals navigate the landscape of their past experiences. Coping with aphantasia involves adaptation. While mental imagery might be limited, individuals with aphantasia often find strength in their cognitive abilities. Verbal and conceptual thinking, for example, can become more pronounced. It's a reminder that our minds are diverse, and what may be a challenge in one aspect can lead to a unique strength in another, like the blind often find their other senses have strengthened. While there are a few examples that could lead us to believe that Ambie does have aphantasia, there are many more that support that she does not, in any way, shape, or form. It seems to be just another passing thing that she said to make herself quirky and unique when it is not meant to be any of that.
I don't think I cry for attention. Nope, not me.
Ambie really needs to remember that there are real people out there that genuinely face challenges she talks about. It's not fair to brush off their struggles just because she Googles them and thinks they're quirks. Unlike her power to wake up and ditch things that she finds boring, these folks cannot toss them aside. They are genuine difficulties that life has thrown at them. Thank you so much for joining me today for part 2 of Ambie's Mini Ailments. Thank you to everyone that gave me suggestions for the videos, as well as voted on the poll for what you guys wanted to see next. I think my next video will either be a special on Ambie or another in-depth look at something important that we seem to be witnessing a lot here on YouTube. While I'll continue to cover Amber on a regular basis, I do want to branch off and cover some other things as well. I am working on getting an upload schedule together for you guys, so it is solid, but I want to get an average for how long it takes me to do a video like this, just to make sure it is of great quality. Mainly because these videos require a ton of research, and I want to make sure that it is all covered correctly. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content. I stream every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday nights, and those are always great times. I do have a Discord with a growing community that is fun, inviting, and very supportive for those that need it. Your support truly means the world to me. Feel free to share your thoughts or any topics you'd like me to explore in the comments below or in my Discord, and I will always try and respond. Until next time, don't forget to take care of yourself, take your meds, and I am sending you all lots of positive vibes and warmth. And remember, folks, if this woman tries to give you medical advice, do not take it. Do your own research, stop medical misinformation, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!